Good evening, gentlemen. Thank you, Jake, for getting us turned on and turned up, and we can get this thing turned out. Well, welcome to Frontline for the month of December. This is it, last one of this year, man. 2021's gone. Did it go by fast or slow for you guys? Fast? What'd you say, Adam? Fast? About the same. Okay. About the same. Some guys, are you guys the type of guys that are like, hey, we're going into a new year. I kind of feel like I'm turning a new page. I'm going to set some new, what are they, New Year's resolutions? Anybody a resolutions guy? There's nothing wrong with that. That's good. I think anything that helps you renew your mind is good. You know what I mean? Like sometimes you're like, hey, this is the line in the sand type of, you know what I mean? Like just a new year. This is it. I'm not going to, I don't know, whatever it is. What do you not do in golf, Keith? No more. No more slices. That's it. So, I'm going to go over some calendar stuff and some and a little housekeeping stuff here at the end. But yeah, the 2022 Frontline calendar is completely submitted. It's under official review by the church staff for calendar integration. So every month for Frontline is already planned out for 2022. It's going to be awesome. But for tonight, I'm glad you guys made it. If you don't know Brad Johnson, raise your hand. Have you ever not met Brad Johnson? Brad Johnson. Okay. Because this is a tight community. You know what I mean? So I'll see a guy that I don't think knows Brad Johnson. He's like, psh. Like I don't know Brad Johnson. I'm like, oh, sorry, I didn't know. You didn't know. I thought you didn't know. But everybody knows Brad. So Brad, if you don't know Brad, and there's going to be people, this is always recorded and put online. So I get to introduce Brad no matter what. So Brad Johnson he hails from Ozark, Arkansas. He's a coach. He's not just a coach, really. I mean, he's a coach whose teams are always in contention on a championship level consistently. I mean, he's good at what he does. He's been doing it a very long time. And one of the reasons why I get so stoked about getting to hear from Brad, he's so humble. He's going to put his hands in his pocket. He's going to walk up here and be like, no. But the reality is this, is that you can listen to a preacher preach. You can listen to a guy teach on leadership. You can find your audio format of choice through podcast or whatever. But the reality is that a lot of times who you're listening to is not somebody that's really seasoned in the seat of what they're talking about. And every year, Brad has carved out some time to come talk at a Frontline get-together of some type. And it's just something that I look forward to every year because Brad is a guy that really from the time that his head comes off the pillow to the time it hits the pillow again, he's in contention in the kingdom. Because he's a guy that, as a believer, walks out his life day in and day out, moment by moment, and he is constantly coaching and growing and sowing into other men and young men. And what that means is that if you were to like take a soldier coming off the battlefield and you reach down and you kind of like touch the muzzle of his gun, it's warm. It may be even a little hot to the touch because he's in contact with the enemy all the time. And so Brad is a guy that if you reached out and you touched the spiritual weapons of Brad Johnson, they're warm to the touch because he's always in contention. He's always contending for the hearts and minds of the young men that he's mentoring. And that, to me, it's so valuable to get an opportunity to hear the heart and mind of a guy whose weapons are polished through the friction of battle every day. You know what I mean? And so this is just a special time for me personally, Brad. I'm just so thankful that you carved this time out and come and bless us with what's God just is sowing into you. You know what I mean? I know this year has been like most years for you. Always something that the enemy brings about to challenge what you're on the earth to do and created for. And so I know that he's giving you something special to share with us. So would you mind coming and sharing what that is? And I will come back and close this up when you're done. But you take all the time you want.
I appreciate you, man. That seems like a That's a great introduction. I don't know if I can live up to what he just said, but that's good. It's an honor to be in front of you guys. You know, I know most of you guys have done this, I guess, number 3. I kind of look forward to it as well. When Joe had told me, hey, December 16th, I'm like, ain't no way. We're basketball Monday through Saturday. You know, that's part of it. And I looked at the schedule. I was like, well, dadgum, Thursday's open. Let's do it. You know, let's do it. That's great. And when I was given this or wanting to do this, and I kind of planned for this opportunity to kind of open up, saying yes. It's funny, as I was slapping the floor on my knees in a basketball game in late February, telling my guys, simple is effective. And I was funny, in that moment, I'm talking in a huge game rival, and I'm slapping the floor saying, yes, sir. Simple is effective. We don't have to do anything too crazy. We don't have to reinvent the wheel with what we're doing. What you're doing is great because you're in the right position at the right time to be successful with what we're doing. And I was like, I'm going to speak on that one day. Immediately, I thought frontline because that's usually where I go and speak. But in the middle of a battle and going through that was one thing that went through my head. Like, man, keep it simple. You know, and simple is very effective. And then that's kind of continue to grow. And I've taken notes throughout the course of the year with some things. And then, you know, me and Adam, good buds, he sent me some stuff on podcasts that he's into, and simplifying the complex has been like the meaning of a lot of things I've been doing lately, and through that the course of last year going into this year. And one of the things, you know, it's funny how God gives you validation over some things. And one of the things I listened to, I was like, you know, I've been trying to put all this stuff together. And then this one thing that I heard, I was like, there it is. It lined it up. And as a matter of fact, it even said, I stole it and said, simplify the complex. I was going to say simple is effective. But when it said that, I was like, man, that's great stuff. So, you know, I'm honored here to always speak and share my heart and what God's put on my heart to give to you. And I hope you guys are blessed from it as well. But it's been, what I'm telling you tonight is something that I try to use. Don't always hit the mark all the time, but it's something that I can get recentered, refocused, get it back in neutral, reset for a second, and try to do things. A mission statement that I like is the ability to do the right thing at the right time, regardless of the circumstances. And that's something that I've gotten. I've kind of been living by that, and it's very hard to do. But your ability to do the right thing at the right time, regardless of circumstances, is very difficult. So when I'm getting over to speak, and I don't feel qualified or I don't feel prepared to do this, you know, I go back to that saying where, you know, Jesus doesn't always call the prepared; He prepares the called. So it makes when I get to do these top things and I get to implant those things and reiterate to myself some of those things that He's told me in the past. It's just a good experience for me, and this allows me to strengthen myself as well, getting up and speaking in front of people. So the simplifying the complex theme, you know, that's going to be a process. You know, and in this process, it's a mental thing that we have to go through to take a step back to try to simplify life. And I'm going to be honest with you, March to June this past spring, going into summer, 15 out of 17 weekends was travel baseball for my 8-year-old son. So I'm speaking to myself when I'm trying to say simplify complex and try to go through a process of things in my own life. And I spent 15 out of 17 weekends March to June, watching some, and I love that, and our family loves that. And I say this too. Now, simplify. We're going 8. Me and my wife, we're dialing that back and realize that, you know, that's a lot. We love doing that together. That's something with our family. We love sports. You know, that's what we're about. But it can't be taking our time away from this church and Jesus and where our hearts are and where the center of our focal point is. So we're dropping it back to 8. But I will say this. In the process of going through 15 out of 17 weekends, the Lord laid on our hearts also to, when we're in Texas or when we're in Oklahoma, a lot of it's Northwest Arkansas, and we could come on Sundays and then go afterwards, but it didn't always work out that way. But the Lord laid on our hearts that, hey, let's give it a devotional to our team who may not see Jesus very much. And let's get connected. Even though we're not at church, let's get connected in a way that we still are strengthening ourselves, and maybe in the process of all this, we're going to help a family or help a young man. And it was crazy. And we went in through that, and we gave it a devotional. Carrie did one, and then I would do one. And then there's be sometimes we're like, we may not do it this time. And a woman on one of our team, one of the mamas was like, hey, y'all's doing that devotion in the morning, right? We're like, yes, we are. You dang right we're doing it. And I'm like, oh, gosh, here we go. But so that strengthened me, just that right there. But it also shows a need for that. And just because we're not in church don't mean that we can't share Jesus and push that. So that was something for me, like even the busy part of life, we're able to still connect to God and find those things in the midst of a busy season. So, I know sports is a small example, and I'm a coach, and I would never say sports is bad, but I know that it can also overload ourselves sometimes. Our hobbies, things we like to do, can take us away from Jesus, and that happens sometimes. I would say our priorities and our focus can shift if we're not very intentional with keeping things simple. And I know Pastor Nate has preached on being intentional about stuff, and when I go through this, all this is intentionality. It's if you want to do something, or if you know what's right and what's wrong, you have to be very intentional in life and what comes out of your mouth. Really, what you plant in your heart, which gets in your head, which comes out of your mouth, and all that's intentional stuff. And that's what I'm gonna talk about here. So I always say our mission statement's pretty simple. It's something I'm gonna do this Christmas with my family. It's not necessarily New Year's resolution, but it's a mission statement that I'm going to have with my family. Our coaching staff at Ozarks reading a book together as a coaching staff. We're coming together and talking about stuff, and you got this chapter, and the last chapter we talked about was a personal mission statement, just in general, that centers you. Where's your center? Where's your heart? What are you about? When things happen, how are you turning to different stuff? So I thought it was very intriguing, and I'm fixing to talk about learning and stuff, but finding our core and where our center is. A mission statement is pretty simple. It could be Jesus and then everything else. Trying to find something that gets you connected with stuff and finding priorities and just keeping it simple. Hey, it starts with the heart. Everything is here, and this is what controls it all. I know. In Proverbs 4:13, some of these verses I got, it says, above all else, guard your heart, for everything you do flows from it. A very wise, I think King Solomon had said that, a very wise king. And it starts with the heart. And you got to protect this, and you got to grow, and you got to feed it, and you got to plant it. But finding that core is very important. So, and everything gets more complicated and complex if your heart's not right. If your heart's not right, then your decision making is different. So it's hard to have the ability to do the right thing at the right time, regardless of circumstances, if you're really not in control here, or just know. So it's going to lead us to a process. So really where I'm trying to get into is this process. And there's 4 things that we're going to talk about. The first one is learning, and this is what the Lord laid on me. And as I'm doing this, a lot of good things come from it and from growth with me when I was doing it. So learning is the first process when we try to simplify our world. You got to learn. Like we know we're going to be stressed out about maybe tomorrow, or anxious about the unknown or the uncertainty of things that's going on. But if we learn how to handle tough situations by increasing our knowledge, refocusing our lenses on what's important right now, it's important. They say the one day at a time, in my profession, the one play at a time mentality, things that we have to learn. I'm going to tell a little story about last year when I was coaching. We were at a rival school, and they're playing this zone. They're pressing us back to this zone, and usually what we do is working really well, and we just couldn't find the flow, couldn't find chemistry with what we're doing. And we ended up losing by 10, and the whole way home, I'm driving a bus, and the coach driving the bus after losing the basketball game, banging my head against the wall, trying to figure out, man, what should I have done, trying to reevaluate stuff. Should I need to throw in 6 or 7 new sets, or then scrap our offense, or what do I need to do? And losing sleep and still trying to figure out, bottom line, what can I do to make my kids more successful? And I'm trying to learn in the process of, hey, we got to play in 2 days, and trying to not necessarily reinvent the wheel, but then, it's nice when the Lord speaks to me, even in sports, you just simplify what you're doing. I don't need to add all these extra things to overload my kids to make them overthink and they're not playing anymore. I need to simplify this, and I need to refocus our lenses on the right things. So I increase my knowledge on what my team needs in this moment, this right now, this today. So when I'm doing that, and I have a new team, and this offense works all the time, but not for these guys. All right, so I had to refocus my lens on what we're doing. I had to learn about what this team needs and how I need to adapt to it. And that's just a small token right there of coaching, and when we're trying to learn and grow and try to have some quick fixes sometimes. That's what we all want, but at the end of the day, you are who you are based on the work that you've put in and what you've done, and we know that. And so I didn't reinvent the wheel, I just tweaked it. So, hey, these guys are great shooters, we need to go here. This guy's big and rebounding, he goes here, a point guard, and we just simplified everything. I guess 3 weeks later, the team comes to our town. We beat them, and they get out of what they usually do. And you're pretty excited as a coach when this team likes to do this, and then they have to bounce out of it and do something different. You feel like that you've won the fight. And I was, we didn't do anything special. We didn't do anything extra. We just put guys in position to be successful and without trying to overcomplicate things. And another thing, example I like to use about learning, we go to coaches clinics every year, and we went to this year. That happens every year. There's a college coach over here talking. Chris Beard, he's at Texas, I believe. He's talking. The OU coach, crazy man, beat us I guess this past weekend. But he's over there taking notes. A college coach, listen to another college coach, good friends. What's he doing? He's still growing and he's learning. And it doesn't matter if he's a college coach and he knows. Maybe he's relearning something he's already learned in the past. But he's constantly learning and trying to grow every day with what he's doing. And I think that's something that we need to be doing, where we can humble ourselves to know that, hey, we need to grow, we need to develop, we need to do more. We can't just be content. I already know that. I don't have to learn anymore. So it's always great to see that, and I always use that example with college coaches that, hey, you can always learn. You can always get better. So digging a little bit deeper with our spiritual lives. I like to listen to what the Lord says with this, about increasing knowledge and our wisdom. In Proverbs 4:7, it says, wisdom is the most valuable commodity. Or in a different translation, it says, it's of the utmost importance. Therefore, get wisdom, and with all your effort, work to acquire understanding. And it goes back to this right here is learning is, if you don't know, then how are you supposed to get it right? If I'm a coach and I don't know how to beat this press, I'm setting myself up for failure. If we don't know how a buddy needs help and he's trying to figure it out and the world's turned upside down and our family, if we don't know, how are we supposed to get it right? So I think about wisdom and how we're supposed to handle things. And I hope this comes out right, but if we don't understand life, but we understand God, or we understand who's in control, then actually we do understand life. Not understanding life, but understanding God really means we understand what's going on. We don't have to understand it. Proverbs 3:5-6, it says we have to, or lean not on your own understanding, but in all your ways, you trust God, and He will direct your path. So that's something that I have to constantly live by as well, as far as I don't get it. I don't have to get it. Everybody say, it's okay. It's okay. You don't have to get it. Life sucks sometimes. We ask a lot of why questions, don't understand things, but I don't think the Lord really, lean not on your, He knows that we're not going to understand anything, but He knows that He's given us His word, and we learn it, and we plant it in us, and we put it in our hearts, and it doesn't matter what we don't know in the world, because we know who's got a hold of us and who's in control. And so tomorrow's not going to be too bad because I know who's controlling today. So that's important, though. When we go through tough times, and I know it's not easy. I said simplify the complex. I didn't say simple was going to be easy. I think simple is very hard. All right, but having a direction, a path to where we want to go, and a structure of what we're trying to do is very important. And knowing that it's okay if you don't know. Romans 8:28 is one of my favorite verses. God causes all things to work together for good. I don't care what happens in this temporary life. I serve a good God, one who loves me, is there for me, and may let me go through some tough times, but He never leave me, never forsake me. And you know what? I understand that. And it doesn't always feel good. I always throw that one out there. It doesn't always feel good, but I get it. Life can throw you lemons sometimes, but I've learned and understand those type of things. So when stuff does happen, and several things have happened in my life over the course of the last 3 to 6 months that didn't feel good, but thank God that I got this in me. So I'm not asking too many why questions all the time on why life's not fair, or why I've gotten thrown a curveball and why I can't hit it and I'm struggling with life. And that's okay. That's okay, because I know who's in control of it. When we talk about Kenneth Hagin, he wrote something the other day that I was reading, and it's talked about about faith. He's talking on faith. It said to increase your faith in 2 ways: by feeding on the Word and then putting it to practice. But the first part is feeding in the Word. Like if you don't know it, how are you supposed to get it? And I keep going to that. Like if people in my life are in trouble and they want to turn to me, if I don't know, then how am I supposed to help? Even for myself, but also from the outside of trying to serve other people and be a part of other people's life and help them and grow them and build them up. And if I don't have it planted in me, then I don't know what else to do. I mean, it says the Lord stands at the door and he knocks. And he gives us a choice. That's what that's saying. He's given everybody an opportunity to open at the word and get it in you. And if he stands at the door and he knocks and he's trying to find you, you have an opportunity to reach in there and grab it and fill your heart with it and find that center and be able to move forward with it. Or he keeps knocking, and he will keep knocking. So he's not really giving us much, or he's giving us a choice. You either do it or you don't. You know, that's what I like to say to my guys a lot too when they're in the huddle and they want to play more and they want all this extra. And you are who you are based on the work that you've put in at this point. I am who I am in my spiritual life based on the work that I've put in my heart with the reading of the Bible. And we say that a lot with my guys, but at the end of the day, they have to do it. They have to do it. And I always tell them, I give you a lot of opportunity. I'm here on Sunday, 6 to 7 p.m., and you guys I come here on a Saturday. You know, I give you opportunity. I ain't going to hold your hand. I ain't going to force you to do it. You either do it or you don't. And you are who you are. And then when the ball goes up, they say the hay's in the barn at that point. The ball goes up and life turns on. What you about? What do you got? So I ask you this when it comes to those type of things, a question. You know, how many times do we have people in our life that don't really need us until they need us? And I can relate to that. He loves Jesus. Da, 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 da. Hey, man, I need to talk to you. What's up, brother? I mean, we have those moments. Of course, if you live with Jesus, you're going to get those phone calls. People know that there's something different. They're looking for something, some meaning, some purpose, or something real, I guess I should say. So I would challenge you, if you get those phone calls or you get those questions, do you have enough in you to help somebody during those times? Do you got enough Jesus in you, I guess is what I'm asking, to help somebody in those moments? That's the way I see it, and that's the way I feel like God's talking to me when it comes to learning, is we got these equal opportunity, and he gives us all faith that's built inside of us, and we rather take a hold of it or we don't. So now that we learn, we're learning and we're trying to grasp as much as we can. We're trying to feed us. We're trying to plant good things inside of us, trying to find our center, our core, our heart of what we're all about. Then it goes into control. So we have wisdom, and now we're working on taking it one day at a time, and now we got to get in control of ourselves. You know, wisdom says wait a little longer, and emotions, let the emotions settle down, and then check and see if it's the right thing to do. So when we talk about control, I go back to this again, our ability to do the right thing at the right time regardless of the circumstances. Are you in control of yourself? In Colossians 3:15, it says to be led by peace in making decisions. Don't let your emotions make your decisions. You know, there's a reason when we have a preseason parent meeting every year, and I tell them, Danny, you're not allowed to come see me after a basketball game. Now, you can come see me the next day. My prep period's 1 to 2:15. We'll let things settle down. Because when we start working on emotions, then you're going to say something that you probably don't really mean, and I'm going to say something. You know, so we start working on our emotions. So I always use these parent meetings. You know, 99% of the time you got parent meetings the next day, they're pretty good. Hey, we can have a good conversation. We can sit down and talk. And sometimes it's agree to disagree, but sometimes it's, you know what, I really appreciate you coming in, or Coach, I really appreciate it. I kind of see where you're at. But the night before, you know, that's normal. It's your emotions are getting crazy. So I use that. I like this saying too. There's two things. Wisdom says wait. Emotions say hurry. I really like that. I read that the other day. Wisdom says wait. Give it time. Be patient. Settle down. But emotion says react right now. And another good statement, too, is emotions can make smart people stupid. Now that's probably a really good one because we all seen those fans in the stands and getting crazy, and hey, they're a pretty good guy. Matter of fact, I think that he loves Jesus, but he looks like he's crazy, and I don't really know why he said the F-bomb there. And right, I mean that happens. That happens a little bit, I guess. But that goes back to if you know it, and this is a saying: if you know it, if you've learned, if you've read it, but you can't control it, it don't matter. So if you know better, but you can't control better, then it doesn't work anyways. I can implant all this in my heart all I want, but when the time comes to have the ability to do the right thing at the right time, regardless of the circumstances, I'm in control and able to understand and be very intentional. Control is intentionality. You have to be in control. You got to know those moments when that happens. I like telling this story about a coach. Well, I'll tell one about me. So before we're in pregame, we're in talking when halftime keys to be successful, like no turnovers or whatever, and shot selection's huge, and no dumb fouls, and we got several things that we like to go through this process and make sure that this gives us the best chance to win, And then after that, we go and we huddle up and we do the Lord's Prayer, and we kind of for a brief moment show light and glorify God before we hit the floor. Do that every time. Now I know better. Now we get into a game. Am I cussing them out at halftime, or am I getting crazy with referees? I mean, that's sometimes you got to do that. But there's a way that you can do that as well. Now I'm saying this is what I believe, but I'm telling you, really, this is what I'm about, because that's what that's what's coming out. I know it. It's at the core, but I don't really want to act like that when I don't feel like it. So that's one of those things that, hey, you can know it and you can plan it, but if they don't see you living it, then it don't really matter. So that's something that is important for me as a coach, and obviously I'm looked under a microscope for stuff, a lot of different things, and that's part of my job. But I also have to be very intentional and know that and be able to control myself. Here's a story about a coach. I was at a coach's clinic, and he was telling us about how after every game he calls his mama. He calls his mom. He wants to talk about the basketball game and tell him how it went. And as it goes along with control, and he's saying, they played terrible. I called timeout, and I was ripping them. They wouldn't quit freaking out. They were going crazy. They were pressing us at the end. We should have won the basketball game. She goes, well, what'd you tell them at timeout? He goes, I told them to quit freaking out. She goes, no, how did you say it? He said, well, I told them to quit freaking out. And then well, crap. How am I expect my kids to be under control if I can't do it? If I'm leading by example, or if they're following me, and take that, your kids or people who surround you, if you expect them to handle their things the right way, then you better expect yourself to handle things the right way as well, to react, to respond, to be in control of who you are. But I love that. That actually helped me as a coach too, because sometimes they're pressing and I'm trying to get a timeout and I'm chewing on them for freaking out. And hey, man, it made me take a step back and say, hey, I need to chill out for a second. We're okay. Everybody say, that's okay. It's okay. We're going to be all right. All right. And in my mind, I'm freaking out. But they don't know that. And that's important for me to make sure that they don't know that I think we're fixing to lose. This is not good. So anyways, your emotions, the emotions can make smart people look stupid. I put that on there twice. I thought that was good. I also put, let your light shine, not by showing your behind. We try to teach our players that about your emotions and control, to reset or to get neutral, or just to just know that, hey, one moment at a time, one play at a time, to whatever happened, right, that last play doesn't matter. We're working in the right now. You're asking a lot from a kid to do that, but if you're consistent with them, you'll be surprised. Or they're having a hard time. They sit on the bench long enough, then they seem like they figure it out then too. So, but a little discipline. So things we can do to control is we have a choice to be a light. We have a choice in the way we represent ourselves and how we respond to trials and triumphs and victory too. How the good and the bad, how we respond to those, and how we can even control what we fill our mind with. Daily scriptures or music or TV shows or podcasts and we all can control all of that stuff as well. So now that we have some knowledge and wisdom and we're building our understanding and we get control of who we are, then we begin to make a plan, to act on what we've learned, to make a plan. And making a plan doesn't always mean that I can control the outcome, right? I mean, if we go back to the story of my zone offense, and we tried to improve it and make it better and simplify it. It didn't mean we was going to win the game, but it did mean that we were going to put ourselves in the right position and give us the best chance to be successful. So making a plan doesn't always mean that the outcome is going to turn out the way we want, but it does mean that you did your best to put yourself in position to be successful when the lights were on. So you can take a small turn with plans with this. And some of you guys can may already know I went through this story, but my plan versus God's plan. My plan is not always what He wants. I have a testimony that I will talk about. I don't know, a new job opportunity that came available. Let's just go ahead and throw that out there. Man, it's perfect for me in my mind. It's a great plan. It's close to home. It's my church. I know people. It's a great opportunity for me. I get more money, whatever, less teaching, just all that stuff. Home run hit for me, right? Not my job. Not my job. And thank God in the process of all of that I had this. Because I didn't get the job that I thought that was for me. You know, it's a testimony for somebody else who got that job that God want to bless him with. He's got other plans for me that are bigger and better, and that I know that He is for me. So if I didn't feel good, it didn't sit right, I didn't like it, but at the end of the day, I was able to say, you know what? Jeremiah 29:11. For I know the plans I have for you, plans for your well-being, not for disaster, to give you a future and a hope. So thank God I had the word in me during that time, because it's very easy not to have sent an email out to all those guys and say, hey, I appreciate the interview and you hired a great guy and I wish him the best. It's not the fun thing to say. It's not the fun thing to do. But the Lord says, being humble and have humility and handle your business, because you're representing me in the process of all of this. So my plan was not quite His plan, and that's okay. And that was okay because I know how to overcome that because I've got the word inside of me. Even if confused or unfair, all those why questions that we ask ourselves, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter because there's something else at the end of the road that's waiting for me. And that's how I can handle it. And that's how I can move forward. That's how I can do this. I didn't get the promotion. That's okay. You know, I didn't get what I deserve. That's okay. You know, I'm talking to guys all the time that I deserve this, I deserve that, or what. It's okay. You know what? It's okay. And that's one of the things I circled, and to say it's okay. Life ain't always what we expect it to be, and it's okay because we got a loving Father who's with us every day. So that leads me to commitment. So we've gained wisdom, we've gained control, we've made a plan. Now we have to commit to it. You know, and commitment is it's an all-out trust thing. It reminds me of Chip Brim that came a couple months ago. It is an all-in mindset. It is a believing in what you're doing. The best teams I ever had are the ones that are fully committed, all in, no questions asked. They believe in their coach. They believe in their teammates. They believe in the system. There is nothing that they'll run through that wall because they believe in what we're doing. The teams that are great, my great teams do that. The ones that were good they might run through that wall if we're winning by 8. If we're down by 12, they're going to say, I'm out. Not literally, and they're still going to play, but you can tell a huge difference between the kids that are all in and not. So our commitment is a huge deal. The we is greater than me mentality. We have that written on our wall in our locker room. We is greater than me. Whether it always sinks in, it's a choice that our kids have that we try to consistently plant in them. But at the end of the day, I always say, at the end of the day, still go home to mom and dad. No, I'm just kidding. That's supposed to be funny. No. Is this recorded? You're fired. You're fired. So getting to our spiritual life, committing to the life God intends us is based on this true commitment, the commitment to have faith, to not waver when things are tough, because we know who holds it, to refocus our lenses to our ability to make the ability to do the right thing at the right time, regardless of circumstances. And commitment is not an every now and then thing. It's not a when I feel like it kind of thing. A commitment is an every moment, every day, a right now kind of thing. So those four things, when we're learning and we're in control and we're planning and we're committing to something, an all-in commitment to this. This is not halfway. This is in or out. Landon usually always says that you're either in or you're out. You either do it or you don't. There's no quitting. There's no turning back. It's yes or no. So all of these things that are essential to simplifying some things in our life, to give us some structure, to give us an idea. It's essential when your best is required, and the Lord requires our best every day. This is a process you can go through to focus on one day at a time. They say if something's off in this process, you probably maybe need to grow more in your faith. Maybe you didn't learn enough. Maybe you need more in you. Maybe you couldn't control yourself in a situation which brought you a couple steps backwards. Maybe you just had a bad plan. It just didn't work. Or maybe you just didn't fully commit to it. And there's a lot of different things that within that process that things can be off. And then just go readjust. Figure it out. And get back to the Word and get back to your core. Get back to your center. Get back to your heart and the Word. That's the truth of what's going on. And life gets a little easier. Matthew 6:35. I'm almost finished. This Jesus guy who writes in red letters sometimes. He put, refuse to worry about tomorrow, but deal with each challenge that comes your way. One day at a time. Tomorrow will take care of itself. So our ability to keep life simple by living in a moment, not taking it for granted. Focus on getting something from it instead of getting through it. Shoot, that's a daily coaching. That's maybe a yearly. I don't say this every day. I do say this every year, and usually it's a preseason that grinds hard. 3 months, and they're like, God, we ain't playing anybody but ourselves. The inner Scots scrimmage is getting, I already know what everything. Yeah, I get it. The grind is hard, but I'll say this. If you can wake up in the morning with a mindset of I want to get something from it instead of getting through it, you're going to get rewarded for it. On my basketball team, if you come to practice when you don't feel like it, but you're going to grind and you're going to give them everything you got, you're going to get something from it. Don't get through it. Don't go through the motions. So, I encourage you that. I'm talking to myself as well. I know that a lot of times on a Sunday we come here and we get lifted up and it feels good. Pastor Nate brought the word and everybody feels lively, and then you get up on Monday and you're like, ugh. And you're trying to fight through that. And you just don't have that about you. Being intentional. You know that, hey, I got to control my own destiny with some things. This is my life, and I got to lift myself up. I got to be my own hero, and I got to get after it. And when I walk in that door, I got to tell that kid, like we do every day, you be great today. You be great today. And they'll say sometimes back to me, hey, Coach, you doing good today? And I say, I woke up this morning, didn't I? I like to use that one. And then they laugh, and I'm like, man, I use that all the time. I'm going to keep using it. I woke up this morning. Why wouldn't I be great? I'm breathing. Everything's good. I got life. My kids are happy. My wife still loves me somehow. But yeah, getting something from it instead of getting through it. And as a player, as a coach, as a Christian, we should be trying to make our best better every day. So that's pretty much what I got for the course of this year, and on my knees slapping on the floor saying, keep it simple as effective. Great job. Let's go win some more games. Your guys are doing great. Keep listening to me. We're going to listen to a song. Do we still have that? we're going to listen to a song to finish it out, and it's one of those songs talking about controlling. What are you listening to? What are you putting in the mornings? In the morning when you get up, what are you doing? What's your kids listening to? Playing iPad? Mine, I've got to get better at that. But what am I feeding them? I like when I get up in the mornings and Caleb's on the radio and he pretty much stays there, and my kids are singing in the back seat. I feel like at least I'm doing something right. They're singing about Jesus this morning before they get to school. And in this song, it talks about I don't know how you make a way, but I know you will. And I think that kind of sums up everything that I've visited about tonight, and something that's probably why I have it in my ear. I'm working out, and I put it on repeat. I don't know how you make a way. I don't have to know. I don't have to understand. I understand you. I understand what you want from me. And I know you're good and you're loving and the peace that you bring. So I don't try to fight battles. My wife says that all the time. Are you not? I don't care. I'm pretty laid back and chill. That's not anything to do with me. I don't have to know. Now I say that, and there's a lot of things that rock my world, just like everybody else's in life. Things happen, and you have to get recentered. You have to get back to neutral. You have to kind of reset and take a step back for a second. I'm not saying that I can just handle every situation just perfectly. I'm human as well, but I have a start, and I have a foundation, and I continue to build on that foundation every day. So, yeah. Appreciate you guys. After you listen to the song, you're going to step back up. But I appreciate you guys. Thanks for coming out. It's a Thursday night, and probably a lot of cool things you could be doing right now, but you're here, and I appreciate it very much. See you guys, and it's always good catching up and giving my heart to you guys for a little bit. So thank you all very much.
Dead, you can see a way I don't, and it makes no sense, but you say that's what faith is for. When I see a flood, you see a promise. When I see a grave, you see a door. And when I'm at my end, you see where the future starts. I don't know how you make go away, but I know you will. I don't know how you make go away, but I know you will. You've been good on every promise, from Eden to Zion, through every dead end and out of that grave. I don't know how you make go away, but I know you will. When the world's on fire,
Wow, what a song. Are these mine to keep? I mean, I'll take them. I told you. Man, thank you, Brad. My heart's full, guys. Wow. Man. And you know what's amazing is I know sometimes, like, maybe you might be like me sometimes, like, I'm like, man, I'm not a coach, I'm not like, I don't have a team I'm talking to every day. But the truth of the matter is that, you got to lead yourself first. And anything that you're going to coach others to, whether that's your family or just with your spouse or, other people that's your coworkers, you know what I'm saying? You have to have it in you first, right? I think you said you are who you are because of the work that you've put in, and I just put in parentheses, spiritually. And, I just kind of, I want to be a guy that, somebody could call and, I have enough of Jesus, to at least get them through maybe that moment and back into communion with the Lord and help them over that hump, and that takes, it's what you do when before the lights come on, you know what I mean? So, man, so good. So good. Yeah. Yeah, man. So I already have Brad back on the calendar. He doesn't know that yet. And probably not in December because I know that really, it worked out good this time,